I want to be on the High Spot podcast.
Wait, Bill,
how do I get there?
Practice, Bill.
So I practice. Does this get me on the air now?
You're going to be on the air right now. So
Right.
let me give you the proper introduction that you deserve, Bill.
Well, I appreciate that.
Guys, this is my privilege to be talking to Bill Apter. If I were to list all the tons of stuff that he has done, this show would be over here, and we want to get back to the show. But he is the host of the Apter Chat,
Correct.
and it's on iTunes and anywhere that podcasts are available.
The ApterChat.com, anywhere.
So there's so many things that I want to talk to you about, but
Wait a minute. Wait, are you an Apter Chatter?
Yeah, I'm an Apter Chatter.
Just want to make sure.
So, we caught you at StarCast Weekend for All In.
We did. It was great to see you there.
How awesome was that? Now, with everything you've done, you are an awesome karaoke singer.
Well, and a rapper.
Yes. So
yeah.
we were talking.
Don't know that.
We were talking beforehand. So is Barry Manilow your go-to when you're doing karaoke?
It's Barry Manilow. It's Tom Jones. It's All for One. It's John Michael Montgomery. It's Toby Keith. You name the genre of music, I'm there.
Talk about the atmosphere, the experience that All In, because we still have some hangover. We still can't get over the fact that we're in Chicago.
I saw you guys hungover, yes.
And
it was a once in a lifetime experience. It really was. The feeling about that show, All In, and I'm not even talking about StarCast, the convention yet, was similar to like one of the great buzz that a fight like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier had at Madison Square Garden way back. There was just such a great buzz in the air. The excitement was incredible. There were celebrities there. Not Josh Groban was there. There were so many outside of wrestling celebrities. It was the place to be. And I was glad to be all in. And to see that the NWA National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight Championship is being elevated because of that platform, it's totally thrilling to me.
Now, Nick Aldis will get his rematch against Cody, and they're doing this 70-year event there.
Yes,
Tony, in Nashville, I believe, in Tennessee, and Tony Schiavone's actually going to call the main event.
What's he going to call it? I got him there.
There you go.
That's a high spot.
He's trying to get me, folks, on my own show. But just your thoughts on just the whole NWA and the resurgence of it this year.
Well, when I was growing up, there were two companies that I knew of as a kid. It was the WWF and the NWA, and they were always like, who's the greater champion? Is it Jack Briscoe or is it Bruno Sammartino? So many years ago, the National Wrestling Alliance kind of fell into an abyss. They really did. But the William Corrigan from the Smashing Pumpkins has bought the brand, bringing it back, and hopefully with Cody Rhodes as the champion, and this is no disrespect to Nick Aldis, he will elevate it back up again, and I'm hoping that the National Wrestling Alliance World Heavyweight title will be defended at the Ring of Honor New Japan show at Madison Square Garden in April.
Now, the whole buzz at StarCast and All In was about, it was like a feeling. It was kind of like a Woodstock for wrestling fans, right?
Yeah, well, it was just great. Yeah, and there are a lot of people out there, millennials, who don't know what Woodstock was, or a happening or anything, but it was just a feeling of elation, and everybody was on the same page. All the spark plugs at Dusty Rhodes would say, all the spark plugs, baby, if you will, were firing simultaneously until it exploded into that great event, if you will.
Now, why I went back to that is because Cody, on the recent 10 Pounds of Gold, said that he's going to be a free agent January 1st of 2019.
Yeah.
So there is a big question, even though they kind of, after the show, they kind of said they were going to stick together. But there's kind of a free agency. 2019 is going to be interesting for Cody, the Young Bucks. Kenny, we kind of think he's the one going to stay in New Japan.
I think he's going to stay in this whole independent, upper echelon independent level, as will the Young Bucks. People say, well, if they get a great financial deal, are they going back to WWE? That wrestler then has to think, is it the finance and being with a wrestling company, sports entertainment, 24/7, or just one-shot deals here and there and making that money and keeping to our world? So it's going to be interesting.
Now, you got to admit that there's been a huge boom in wrestling. It's kind of been like a resurgence for wrestling in general, right?
Yeah, definitely.
We have our own podcast, you with the Apter Chat.
Yes,
right?
along with Josh Chernoff.
Yeah, with Josh Chernoff, who we just met too. We're going to get him on here later on too. But, talk about just the resurgence of wrestling, how like social media.
Yeah, but it's always been, see, people talk about the resurgence. It's been out there. There's just more people paying attention to it on social media. You can see WWE any night of the week, anywhere in the world. You can see a lot of the independents now on streaming media. It's changed the whole ballgame, where an independent company used to have to try and get a TV spot. You don't need to do that anymore. You get a streaming station, market it right, and you're going to have fans, and they're going to draw people like here where we are at Modern Vintage Wrestling, Gimmick Tree Entertainment. Yes, it's a whole new world. Which is not one of my karaoke songs.
No, those Disney songs, he doesn't do Disney's, though. You have to get a couple of drinks and be able to do Disney for you. No?
I don't drink. No, this is. I'm a sparkling ice and Izzy guy.
So you're a straight edge podcaster and
I don't
writer.
drink alcohol.
No?
Never did.
Good.
Once at my bar mitzvah. But that was it.
You, in your recent episode, kind of broke down Hell in a Cell, and you were a big fan of it. What about Hell in a Cell? Because I know a lot of people critique the ending. You obviously were kind of not a fan of the red colored cell.
No, but that was it. Other than that, I think a lot of fans are just too critical. I still sit back and enjoy it. I didn't like the red, but the action that went on top of the ring, the spot where Ziggler and Seth Rollins fell down. People are saying, oh, it looked pre-planned. If you're looking for that to look pre-planned, it will.
Yeah.
Okay? But I'm sitting there as a fan, and I'm enjoying it. So, no, I liked it. I like most of what I see on every company. I really do. I've never been a guy who's a critic. I'm a wrestling fan, and I still love to watch it.
Can you believe we're in September? We're almost towards the end of the year now, because October's going to come in and everyone's going to be talking about Thanksgiving and the holidays.
October 22nd, my birthday.
And of course, Bill Apter's birthday.
Yeah.
Trendsetter, we got to get him a gift. We got to start now because Bill's
dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. Okay. So as we close in the year, what are you going to remember 2019? What are you going to remember 2018 for?
Well, probably that weekend at StarCast and All In, because I haven't been to an original event like that in years that's generated such a buzz. Yeah.
And do you think, for example, now that
and let me the WWE expanding even more globally to Australia, going back to Saudi Arabia, it's great. Yeah.
And he gives me great questions to ask him. Shawn Michaels, talk about Saudi Arabia. Now they're talking about Shawn Michaels. You know what? Sometimes something that can get you out of retirement is the cash. And obviously, WWE is making a lot of money right now. And, we were talking on our show whether Shawn Michaels is doing this maybe for Vince or maybe because he's got the itch.
I'm going to tell you why he's doing it. It's not Vince and it's not the itch. Maybe 10 or 12 years ago when I did an hour sit-down with him, he said he wanted his child at that time, his son, was asking him to go back and do this. I think it's more family or kid. I'm trying to look for the right word, like kid-related, where my dad's going to go and do this. That's what I think it is.
You know what? We didn't even think about that. You're right.
Yeah,
He's got
that's
a family.
That's why I'm here to put the thoughts in your mind.
There you go.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that when they think of Shawn Michaels, it's Mr. WrestleMania. What do you think?
The Heartbreak Kid.
The Heartbreak Kid. What do you think? Should the fans lower expectations knowing that Shawn Michaels getting in there at 53?
No,
no.
I mean, just go in and enjoy seeing him doing it one more time. Don't be critical. Yeah.
And final one, Bill, because you've been so gracious with your time, is Ring of Honor is going to sell out Madison Square Garden.
Well, they did.
With New Japan,
yes.
right? So we're excited for that. We will be there.
I will too.
what do you think this signifies? Because what's next for Ring of Honor and New Japan? Because you can't just go off of selling out Madison Square Garden. I was talking to Brian here and saying that, a weekly show for Ring of Honor, or they should have something like that where it's maybe distributed more. They're under Sinclair.
They're on syndicated networks right now.
Yeah.
It would be great if they had a network deal, but again, we see little by little the streaming universe is changing. And if you really think about it, Ring of Honor and New Japan didn't use any major TV promotion to sell out Madison Square Garden, nor did the people that put on All In. So the world is changing. So my answer is I think they're going to go to other major cities and get into other major arenas and do this on a maybe quarterly basis. That's the way to do it.
Bill, I want to thank you so much.
Don't overexpose. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the High Spot
My
pleasure.
pleasure.
Really appreciate it. I mean, this has been one of our gets that we've always wanted to here,
you.
And to catch you here for this wrestling promotion here in a great cause.
Charlie Armstrong has always booked me. He's a great promoter. Jackie Destiny Peterson has beaten breast cancer, thyroid cancer, and tonight's a benefit. And the only thing I can say is please help her, and we'll see you at the matches.